Welcome back! Today, we'll try something different once again. After looking at historical eras, world wars, and even Bitcoin, it's time to submerge in my favorite science fiction franchise, Dune. I love the original 6 books written by Frank Herbert. I always thought they were not just interesting, but also enlightening. These books deal not only with an imagined future, but first and foremost with human nature. That never really changes. The franchise sheds some light on the things we do and why we do them. It helps us understand ourselves. Now that the new movie by Denis Villeneuve is out, more people will become acquainted with Dune, which gives me an opportunity to explain all the things that you may or may not encounter in the film. There will be some spoilers, especially once we start going through the timeline, so be warned. You probably saw in the new movie that the events depicted in it took place in the year 10,191. But that's not 10,000 AD. Instead, it's 10,000 years after the establishment of the Guild, the organization that is responsible for interstellar travel. Before that, another 10,000 years had passed after the beginning of space travel back on Earth. So we're looking at 20,000 years at least, with a rocky history. But in this video, we'll focus on the current era from the perspective of the first novel and the first movie. When you watch the new movie, which follows the 1984 adaptation by David Lynch and the 2001 miniseries by the Sci-Fi Channel, you may not realize that something is missing from this weird universe. You see religion, interesting tools, humans with highly refined skill sets, and even advanced weapon systems, but there are no computers or robots, because their use is banned. You see a feudal society ruled by an emperor who carefully balances between the great houses that sometimes pose a threat to him. The story of the first book is centered around the conflict between houses Atreides and Harkonnen, and the emperor's treachery, who wants to eliminate the Atreides, whose leader has become increasingly popular. You may get the feeling that the emperor is the actual leader of this galactic empire, but, just like in the real world, the situation is way more complex. Officially, the emperor is the head of state. He has his own army, which is feared by everybody else. His elite Sardaukar fighters can beat any great house, but they would be overwhelmed by a combined force of all the houses, which is why diplomacy and intrigue are required, besides brute force. The great houses all have their own armies and stash of nuclear weapons, but the use of atomics is also forbidden. Anyone who dares use such a horrible weapon will have to face annihilation. Laser guns are known, but in most cases they are avoided, because personal energy shields that protect you against fast-moving objects have a tendency to explode with the force of an atomic bomb when they are hit by lasers. Fighting is mostly done by hand, using kinetic weapons, but special training is also required to make sure you can slow down at the right moment to penetrate the shield of your opponent. In the background, the Guild, which has a monopoly on interstellar travel, is silently assisting the Emperor, but at the same time, they are also trying to manipulate him. Their primary objective is to ensure constant access to spice, which can only be found on a single planet, Arrakis or Dune, currently ruled by the Harkonnens. Spice enables Guild navigators to peer into the future and find safe passage every time their vast ships enter hyperspace. Spice also prolongs your life and gives you protection against all illnesses, so those with power do anything they can to gain access to it. Without spice, interstellar commerce breaks down. Trillions of people who are addicted to it die. Civilization falls apart. Everything depends on the continuous production and delivery of spice, which somewhat resembles our relationship to oil. Those who have access to it can become more powerful, while those who do not are in a more or less hopeless situation. In the past 10,000 years, things haven't changed much. The emperors, through the great houses, managed to ensure non-stop production, while the guild maintained timely deliveries. However, in the same period, other groups have emerged from the shadows, each trying to pursue their own goals, which don't necessarily coincide with that of the emperor. One such group is the Bene Gesserit, a secretive order of women who officially provide certain services to wealthy individuals. Things like translation, physical training, educated and well-trained concubines and wives, etc. They also assist the emperor with their truth-sayers, who can always detect lies. But at the same time, they have their own agenda. For thousands of years, they have been carefully manipulating bloodlines, making sure selected individuals breed with the proper partners, producing more capable descendants, eventually leading to the birth of an exceptional male human being, the Kwisatz Haderach, who can see the future, has access to both male and female ancestral memories, and can become the leader of all humanity, carefully guided by them, of course. The Bene Gesserit Reverend Mothers also use spice. They have access to female ancestral memories. They can also share these memories with select individuals before they die, and they have exceptional sexual and fighting skills, although this is carefully hidden from the public in order to avoid attention. Another group is the Order of Mentats, specialized in training human computers that can perform complex calculations in the service of important people, like the heads of great or lesser houses. Obviously, they are expensive, but with a Mentat on your side, you can achieve a lot more. As far as we know, the Order doesn't have a hidden agenda. In subsequent novels, the Bene Tleilax will show up as well. They are a group of short, gray-skinned, genetically modified people who come from a weird male chauvinistic society. They focus on the technology of cloning. They produce face dancers that can mimic the looks of anyone, making them near-perfect spies. We know that they are looked down on, but later on, we learn a lot about their religion, their hidden goals, and how they produce their clones. The planet, or House of Ix, focuses on technology, going all the way to the edge, carefully trying to avoid any accusations of breaking the prohibitions of the so-called Butlerian Jihad, which wiped out machines and pro-machine humans 10,000 years ago. They will play a role later on, although they will never become very important. The Suk Inner School produces specially trained doctors, who are believed to be the best medical professionals in the galaxy, while also being completely loyal. Their conditioning is supposed to prevent any treachery or betrayal of the patient, which makes them ideal candidates for the great houses, who want the best healthcare and adequate security for their leaders. Looking at society in general, you get a complex structure with feudal lords, some sort of a middle class, and lots of ordinary people who are simply inconsequential. Most people are religious, they want to believe in something, but at the same time they are discontent with the current state of affairs. We'll see how this changes in subsequent books. There are dozens of great houses. Some of them are mentioned by name, others stay in the shadows. We do know that the Atreides and the Harkonnen have been mortal enemies for several millennia, although outright war between them has not been seen for a very long time. Instead, they rely on proxy wars, skirmishes, assassins, and poison, which is frequently used in this world. There are hundreds of lesser houses who do not have the same resources or manpower, but they also vie for more influence. The Emperor is trying to maintain balance. He shares some power and ownership in CHOAM, a publicly held corporation which controls all economic affairs in the galaxy, but relies on the Guild for interstellar travel. The Fremen who live on planet Arrakis, Dune, are descendants of Zen-Sunni wanderers, who bought their freedom thousands of years ago, and they took it to the desert planet. They have adapted well to the harsh conditions, becoming fierce warriors, focusing on survival. They are highly religious, waiting for their Messiah, who would bring them to paradise. But this idea was in fact secretly planted by the Bene Gesserit, who use religion as a tool to ensure the survival of their own agents. When the Atreides arrive on Arrakis, many feel that the time has finally come to get rid of all oppressors and achieve freedom for all true believers, which can quickly turn into a catastrophe, something that Paul, the main character, correctly foresees. We can say that pretty much every single organization and powerful individual has something to hide. The Guild has never shown their navigators in public. The Emperor does not reveal where his elite soldiers come from and how he tries to eliminate his potential rivals through secret alliances. The Bene Gesserit poses as a group of educated women who just want to serve, while the Tleilaxu operates behind the scenes, mainly through their spies. The Fremen are also hiding something. Their primary goal is to change the harsh conditions of their home planet, but this will also bring unwanted consequences. All of them desire power, but they use different tools throughout the series. The first book, which was actually a collection of 3 books, focuses on the conflict between the Atreides and the Harkonnen, and how the Emperor sets the stage for an actual war, trying to wipe out the Atreides who have been loyal, but have become too influential in the Landsraad, the Council of the Great Houses. Having too many friends is not always a good thing. Some of them may be faking friendship, while others will be envious of your popularity and will conspire against you. This is something to remember not just in politics, but also in everyday life. This new war is just the beginning. As the story develops, we'll see how circumstances change and who will be able to hold on to or gain power, which will not necessarily mean that they have actual control of the events. This is it for now. If you're interested, you can find plenty of useful resources online which offer more details on the topic. I'll put one link in the description. It should serve you well. In the next episode, I'll talk about the history of the Dune universe, from the early stages of space travel all the way to the events of the first book. Until then, enjoy the books and the movies.